The Friday Vibe on WNUT.
Hey, it's Friday Vibe time. I'm Brandon. I'm in the WNUT studio. It is Friday. Your weekend is coming, so I got something to kick it off right. I got something catchy. I got something energetic. I got something good. So we are going to Friday Vibe today with INXS. INXS was formed in Australia in 1977 by some high school classmates, but they wouldn't become INXS for a couple of years. They played their first show under that name in 1979, and they took the inspiration for the name from groups like XTC and IXL. INXS, man. INXS. You pronounce it INXS. That's innovative as shit. But you know what? I'm not going to give you the history on INXS today. I'm not going to go through the rough and tumble years and making it and putting out major label albums and having hits and all that nonsense. I'm going to skip right to an album they put out in 1987 called Kick, because that is where I got on the INXS train. And back then, I was a young lad of 7. I thought the band's name was pronounced INXS. I'm not even going to bullshit you. I ran around for years calling these guys INXS. I would tell my friends at school that I liked INXS. They didn't know who the fuck I was talking about. I like to think today that they probably remember Brandon talking about INXS, and they never discovered who the fuck INXS was. Brandon knew some really cool underground band that nobody else had discovered at that time. But no, I just ran around mislabeling INXS, who I had found a cassette that my dad had copied from a friend, either borrowed the dude's CD or LP of Kick, and he made a cassette, and I found that bad boy, and I spun it one day, and the first song I heard was New Sensation, and holy shit, it blew me away. Knocked me on the floor. I was like a cockroach with my legs in the air. Probably not literally, but I can imagine if it was going to happen, it probably would have happened with that track. Like, that track was amazing. You rarely hear production so clean. You rarely hear hooks so catchy. You rarely hear breakdowns like that. I mean, it's just, that track has it all. And I'm kind of getting ahead of myself right now. But anyway, Kick is where I jumped on board with INXS, and I loved that album. And I stole my dad's cassette, and I listened to it all the freaking time. I would finally wind up buying the CD many years later in either the late 90s or the early 2000s. By the way, it was remastered sometime around 2001. Avoid the crap out of that, because they did the loudness war garbage with it. They really messed the production up. You need to stick with the original release if you want that album the way it was meant to be heard, but I'm digressing. For years, Kick was the only INXS album I would listen to. It was the only one I allowed myself. Actually, that's not true, because 1992, they did Welcome to Wherever You Are. That had Not Enough Time. That had A Beautiful Girl. I had that album. I remember those hits. I remember that being a thing. I remember buying that album around that time. But, Kick was still my jam. And so, with the exception of those two, that is really the only... Okay, I'm lying again. There was the Live Baby Live album, which was a play on the lyric Live Baby Live from a New Sensation. I had that one too. I had that on cassette. But that doesn't count. That was a live album. And it was really just a way... It was another way for me to own New Sensation before I owned Kick, like before I bought the CD myself. So anyway, Kick and Welcome to Wherever You Are... That was pretty much all I had for years. I kind of wouldn't allow myself to go outside of that, because I knew, like, if I bought other stuff by INXS, it was just going to let me down. There was no way anything could live up to that. Well, I was wrong as shit. I finally wound up buying X from 1990. I finally wound up buying Elegantly Wasted from 97, the last one they did with Michael Hutchence before he died. And then working backwards, I got Listen Like Thieves from 85. Holy shit, let me tell you something. I have not bought anything by INXS yet that has disappointed me. I've not bought anything by them that I do not love and that I can't just put on and listen to front to back. I have everything from Listen Like Thieves all the way up through Elegantly Wasted. I refuse to acknowledge that they ever did some kind of a rock star reality show where they replaced Michael Hutchence. That never happened. That wasn't a thing. But today, like I said, man, Kick is where it's at. New Sensation was the song that knocked me on my back like a cockroach. So I'm going to play that shit today. New Sensation is going to kick off your weekend the best possible way it goddamn can. This is INXS in the prime, man. The prime of 80s pop rock. It can't get any better than this song. This is New Sensation on WNUT's Friday Vibe with the INXS.
Live